Welcome back, it's me Lou, and I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. And today we are looking at this. It is from the Marvel Gamerverse. We have the Avengers Hulk and Abomination 2-pack. Alright, this looks great. The first time I saw this in the store, I immediately picked it up. As I've mentioned in previous videos where I've reviewed Gamerverse action figures, I was kind of lukewarm to the game. When I saw the trailer videos, I wasn't too hot on some of the new character designs. Parts of the game looked a little bit silly, but I really wanted this 2-pack because I love the idea of getting the Abomination and the Hulk together. And the Abomination, he looked kind of weird, and I'm like, I gotta check that out. It looks like a fun action figure. The Hulk looked kind of silly to me, but you know, this was a budget set. For 20 bucks, it got me two cool looking figs, and I was excited to get it. Right? Truth be told, this is actually I think my second copy or first copy. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Okay, wait, let me start all over. I'm confusing this with another set. I was about to stop recording the video, but I'm just going to go straight through. I don't care if I'm making errors everywhere. All right, so yeah, I think this. I was about to say I think this is. I bought this twice, but I take it back. This is the only time I bought this set. I'm confusing it with some other figures because my mind is it's a mess right now. Okay, so yeah, let's get back to this. So this is the Gamerverse 2-pack featuring the Hulk and Abomination. You may have seen the other 2-pack, which features Original Sin Iron Man and Taskmaster. That's a great set also. I recommend that. But this is the one, when I first saw it, I wanted it because I like Hulk action figures. The Abomination's always a cool dude. They're much smaller than the Marvel Legends figures. Abomination, I think you might have seen 2 releases as Build-A-Figures. He's that big. Hulk's had a couple of Build-A-Figures also. These figures, they're budget figures. They're not premium like the Marvel Legends. With the Marvel Legends, you're paying 19 bucks a figure, and the figures are always awesome because they have multiple points of articulation, accessories. Whereas the budget line of toys, you know, you're paying 9 bucks for a single fig, 19 bucks for a double pack. Their paint applications aren't always the greatest. Their articulation is very limited. But they are good toys, and that's one of the reasons why I've been into the budget line of stuff. I love stuff that makes me feel youthful, that kind of takes me back to my childhood. Yep, and these are 2 cool looking figures. Alright, box-wise, as I've stated before, I love the Gamerverse package design. I love the weird shape. It's not just a plain rectangle box. This is 6 sides, I think. Character art here. We have all the cast of Avengers, minus a few characters. On this side, we have a picture of the Hulk, and on the back, all the character portraits. It's such a waste of space because I really think it'd be cool if they gave us 2 bio cards, you know, one for the Hulk and one for Abomination. But they don't, so we'll just take it as it is. But the art is beautiful nonetheless. So let's take these guys out. And as I've pointed out in the past, with the Gamerverse stuff, you get this cool cardboard insert. You know, you can use it as a display piece, throw it at the back of your shelf, you know, prop it against the wall, or use it as a display stand. It's neat. It's nothing, you know, elaborate, but it adds a little flair to your display shelf. Me, I just recycle them. I don't really care. And here we have the Hulk and the Abomination in their trays. And first impression, before I take them out, beautiful sculpts. That's the first thing that came to mind. I think the sculpting is beautiful. There's a lot to be desired, though, in terms of the paint application, but the detail, it's nice, it's crisp. I mean, just look at that. You know, It's all tattered. There's some details here, there's like a drawstring, some buttons, multiple bandages, fine sculpt on the necklace, nice crisp cuts, really well defined. Same with the hair, the teeth. Abomination, definitely a beautiful sculpt. Some great artistry here. The face isn't the best compared to like other iterations of Abomination, but just in terms if you had to judge it on the sculpting alone, for a budget figure, it looks great. Already, I can kind of tell that the articulation is going to be kind of more of the same of what we've been getting with the Gamerverse stuff. Alright, let's take a look at the Hulk first. Alright, so here's the Hulk. Now, I've started playing the game. I'm not familiar. I'm not far enough into the game to know where this Hulk falls into it. And this Hulk, at first I thought it was because of the packaging. I thought the Hulk was a dark green in the box, but then as soon as I took it out, he's gray. If I remember correctly, the Hulk's first appearance in the comic books, he was initially gray. And then at some point, I think a couple of issues later, they made him green. Growing up, Gray Hulk for me, he was the smarter Hulk. He wasn't as smart as like Professor Hulk that ran the Pantheon. Gray Hulk, I think, was the smart Hulk who kind of was like in line with like the mob and stuff. And I think he lived. I think he lived in Vegas for a while. The Gray Hulk. I think that's where he met. Is it Marlo, who Rick Jones eventually married? I think Marlo. I think that might be right. Yeah, so I don't know why he's gray in the video game. I still have to play far enough to get to that point. And I don't know why. It looks like he's like, I don't know, went on like some sort of weird like vacation somewhere because he has these weird necklaces and bandages. And I don't know, this looks like something he'd probably wear like, I don't know, somewhere in Asia. You know, like maybe Thailand or something. Maybe he's in hiding. But, I don't know. It's a different Hulk. I'll give it that. The sculpting is beautiful. I mean, I've already said that. Sculpting the hair, nice and crisp. The teeth. He has a nice grimace. He's like gritting his teeth down. He has these funky necklaces. I wish I kind of knew what that was. Weird that he has all these bandages on his legs. Articulation-wise, it looks like his head's on a ball joint, but not a whole lot of motion. I mean, you can go left and right, but his chin kind of hits his shoulders. Arms rotate. They go out. What do you expect from the $9 budget line? You get what you pay for, so don't expect anything super articulated. But there's more than usual. His legs do kick up, but it hits whatever this thing is. I'm kind of curious if this is removable. It's definitely a separate piece from this pants, but I'm wondering if it's an overlay that's between, if there's two parts of his body's broken up. His torso is actually two pieces because there's a gap here at his waistline. So it looks like it might be glued in, but what I'm guessing is that this is an overlay that goes over his crotch, and then this plugs on top. So, but he does kick up, his knees bend, and there's, you could like, I don't know, you could like dance at the clubs, you know, get all crazy. It's a nice figure, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised. I like this a lot more than I thought I would. Partially because he's not green, it's gray, so I'm getting a different kind of Hulk. The sculpting's nice, but I think it suffers from the same problem as some of the budget Hulk figures that you get. He's just kind of short. Here's Gamerverse Cap. He's from the same line. And as you can see here, they're roughly the same height. This guy's definitely bulkier, so he does feel more Hulkish. But, you know, just the fact that he's the same height as Captain America is kind of, I don't know, a little offsetting. I would appreciate if, you know, maybe even if he was like a half a head taller than this guy. But, I don't know, maybe it's a budget thing. But it's still cool. It's a nice figure. If I had to rate this guy numerically, my first thought was 8. I think it's because of a bias. I love Hulk action figures, and It's a lot better than the previous budget Hulk figure I reviewed, which was the Mech Strike one. I'll pull that out in a little bit, but this is better than the Mech Strike budget Hulk. But just like that one, it falls short, literally. It's just a short figure. But it's great. The sculpting is beautiful. He looks beefed up. And he's ready to go party or go to a luau or something. I don't know what's going on here. That brings us to the Abomination. Abomination, he's one of those guys that, when you think of like some of Hulk's better known adversaries, it's definitely one of them is the Abomination. This one has a really ugly head though. It doesn't look like the Abomination you think, but then again, this is based off of the Gamerverse design. It's not, I mean, I don't want to say it's bad, because honestly, this is a beautiful, beautiful sculpt. And it has just as much as articulation as the Hulk does. More so just because it doesn't have anything to hinder it. So it would actually kick out all the way. And I think it even has a super kick out. So if you want to get crazy and have super kick parties, go for it. Knees bend. Swivel, same with the elbows. Now for a budget figure, if this was a figure that was packaged solo and I'd buy it by itself, I'd be in heaven. If this was a $9 figure on its own, that'd be a steal. My first thought was immediately when I handled it, I'm like, this figure's a 9. Now that might be overrated, but despite the fact that he has a weird looking face, that's more of an aesthetic thing. The sculpting's beautiful. The paintwork, it's very limited, but it's a little bit more than what I'd expect out of a budget figure. With a budget figure, it's so easy. It could have just cast this guy in green plastic and called it a day, but you have actually a couple of different tones of green going on here. You have a grayish green, which is, that might be what the plastic is, but then you have a lighter green on top of it that's painted, and it kind of blends in, which is nice. And it almost looks like there might be a gray wash even on parts of this. Yeah, it looks like there's like a gray wash or on the arms to kind of like highlight the detail. So yeah, I mean, if you overlook this figure, don't. This is a beautiful figure. Even if you don't want to call it the Abomination and it's kind of short, just like how the Hulk is, you could buy it and just fudge it into your Marvel Legends and say it's a, some sort of new Spider-Man villain that lives in the sewer or something. Because it's really, the detail is nice on this guy. Look at that. It's unfortunate that he doesn't have a waist swivel or ab crunch or any of the other fun stuff that the Marvel Legends figures have, like even like a wrist swivel, but it's a budget figure. You get what you paid for it, and I think you really get a lot of bang for your buck with this guy. This guy, too. So, as a $19 2-pack, I couldn't recommend this anymore. It's great. Easily a 9 or a 10, and just in terms of what you're getting and the value of the figures and the quality for a budget set. I'm really impressed with this set. I don't know nothing about these iterations of the characters because I haven't gotten that far into the video game. But from what I've handled so far, these are awesome. Yeah, these are great figures. I recommend these. Of all the budget figures I've reviewed lately, these are probably my favorite. That's including the Mech Strike stuff and some of the Avengers Endgame and Infinity War budget figures I've been reviewing. These really take the cake. I like these a lot. And they come with accessories. We have this purple thing. And we have this blue thing. At first I was going to say, I thought each one was, I don't know, maybe they are. I think each one of these goes to a specific character. This effect, it's like a transparent purple, it's almost like a claw kind of deal with like, it almost looks like flames trailing back, and it looks like it belongs to Abomination. I can't I can't get it to go on perfectly over the fingers. Oh wait, there we go. Wow, that's really neat. If you're a kid and I'm an adult, I think I think this is awesome. Like I said, I'm not that far into the game where I've gotten to this point, but whatever it is, it's cool. You could give the Abomination this cool effect, like his hands like caught up in purple flames, and wow, this really adds some value to the figure. It fits, you know, not to be clever, you know, this literally fits like a glove. Look at that. That is such a cool thing. Beautiful figure. I can't stress that enough. It, you know, so chances are if you go to your Target, you're going to see this 2-pack just sitting on the pegs. It's been shelf warming for maybe like 9 months. Just get this. This 2-pack is great. Even if you haven't played the game, even if you don't collect budget figures, buy this. It's a fun toy. And with this guy's build and the way he looks, you could probably even, you know, blend him into your Masters of the Universe Origins line. He kind of has that aesthetic in a weird way. You know, say it's a new henchman of Skeletor's or something. Same with this guy. You know, like say this is like He-Man's cousin from like, I don't know, Hawaii or something. And let's put this thing on. It's like a blue fist effect. That looks awesome also. Look at that. Oh man, this is a cool set. I'm not really keen on always like these blast effects and like, you know, that they give with action figures, but for some reason I'm really digging these. They fit perfectly on the figures and it adds a little bit something to the character. Makes me really curious about the video game. Like, is this like a power up or something? Yeah, man, look at that. That's really cool. I mean, you can't get these figures and all the crazy poses they could do with the Marvel Legends, but, you know, use your imagination. These figures do have some presence about them, and they look awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so since we're on the subject of the Hulk and the Abomination, it's the rivalry that will never end. I have a couple of figures we could compare them to. Let's go Hulk first. So with Hulk, here's the budget Mech Strike Hulk figure. The green's a little bit different on camera than it is in person. On camera, it looks a little bit more bluish, but trust me, it's very green. I like this figure, but I hate the head. The head is terrible. It looks very cartoony, and it just screams budget figure. Whereas this head, it's a decent head. The sculpting's nice. It looks more sophisticated. Yeah, this looks more like a child's toy. This looks like it's still a child's toy, but you know, it looks a little bit more cooler. I hate this head. The body's all right, but this kind of suffers from budget-itis, as I like to call it, because for some reason, budget figures, if you look at them from a profile view, they're very flat. You know, as opposed to this guy where there's peaks and valleys. His chest goes out, and his abs, and his huge shoulders. But for some reason, there's some budget figures, they're just flat. You know, they're like this, like, There's, it almost looks like they got sandwiched. And I hate his pants. I can't stand the fact that this version of the Hulk's wearing these high-tech pants, and yet he can't, like, make himself shoes. He's a friggin' genius, but he can't, like, design shoes. Alright, we have more budget Hulks. We have budget Hulks from Avengers Endgame. This one came with a Nano Gauntlet, but the Nano Gauntlet's in my little box of accessories. Likewise, I hate this outfit. It's like, why can't you just make yourself shoes? Like, he goes so far to design yourself this cool looking jumpsuit, but you can't, like, give yourself shoes. This is alright. I don't mind the quantum suit. These feel very budget also. These are $9 figures. This guy though, he could super kick out, you know, so that's a big difference. You know, he's $9, but he has that additional leg articulation. These guys can't bend at the knees. But the sculpting's nice. The texturing on this guy's Quantum armor is awesome. And as much as I despise this costume design, likewise, there's a very, very, very fine micro texture that's applied to his jumpsuit. And that, there's nothing budget about that. It's super fine. I'm not sure if the camera even can catch that. But there is a very micro texture on there. And I like the head. I don't mind it. As I stated in previous videos, I prefer the Ed Norton Hulk over the Mark Ruffalo one. So this is a Marvel Legends Hulk. I believe this came in the 2-pack with Wolverine, the classic looking Wolverine. The design of this looks very Sal Buscema from, I don't know, the 70s and 80s comics. I like this one because he has the honker hands. So when he's going up to girls, it's kind of like honk honk. Beautiful paint job. Besides being casted in green plastic, there's some like highlighting here with like yellows and light greens. So it really gives his musculature, you know, a sense of volume and depth. This is one of my favorite Hulk figures ever. And if you look at his size, he completely dwarfs the budget $9 guy. You know, this could be like his, it's like Hulk Jr. It's like, you take after your mom. And this is one of my favorite Hulk figures for many reasons. It's big. It weighs a ton. This has to weigh at least, I don't know, 4 pounds, I'm guessing. This is a Marvel Select Hulk. It looks very much inspired by the designs of artist Jack Kirby. It's very ugly because the Hulk should be ugly. The sculpting is beautiful. It's really heavy. I can't just... It's heavy. This is a big boy. And he doesn't even fit in my entire camera. And he completely dwarfs this guy. But it's one of my favorite Hulk figures. I found this on Amazon. It was an Amazon warehouse deal. And they listed, I think, it as used. But it wasn't used. The package was just kind of wrecked. Now, I want to say I bought this for maybe like $11 or $13. And I couldn't pass it up. Even though it said it was used and the package was damaged. I'm like, I'm going to take the gamble on it. Because I know how big that figure is. And if it's in, you know, okay shape and not broken, for $11 it's a steal. And I got it in the mail. And the package, it was, I don't know, I think the card might have been bent or the bubble was dented, but the figure wasn't opened. And I'm like, this was a steal for like $13 or $11. It's ugly, it's beautiful, all at the same time. It's like a baby, it's so heavy. Okay, we're done with the Hulk. Let's move on to the Abomination. I don't have too many Abomination figures, but the ones I do have are kind of cool. This is an Abomination figure. This is from the 3 3/4 line of Marvel figures. So for many years, Marvel made figures that were about, you know, roughly in the 3-inch, under 4-inch scale, and people were excited about them at first because it's like we finally got Marvel action figures that were like G.I. Joes. They were as articulated as G.I. Joes. They were small. They gave us every character you could possibly want for maybe like 6 years, or maybe even less than that. And they were awesome. This is the Abomination. This was one of the bigger figures in that line. Guys like him, or Juggernaut, or Apocalypse, or Colossus, and Venom, they felt like they were made of twice as much plastic than the other figures. And the detail for such a small figure is beautiful. This one's proportions are kind of weird though. He looks kind of squat. But I don't mind because it's a burly looking dude. But just check out that sculpting. Sculpting is really fine. Paint applications for such a small figure are great. I have this in my Transformers display case, or my Transformers shelf. I have many Transformers shelves, but he's on one of my Transformers shelves, and I have him next to Wheelie because I kind of like to use him as a placeholder for this character called, what's his name? I think it's Garnak, or Grognark. So in the IDW comic books, Wheelie's out in space, and he has this buddy who kind of reminds me of Abomination, and you know, they hang out together. I want to say his name is Grognark or Garnak or something. It's been a while, but this is kind of my fill-in for that character. So I kind of pretend this is the Transformers character, Garnak or Gragnar or whatever. Another Abomination figure. This is one of my favorite figures also. This is a Marvel Select, and it's just as big and as crazy as that Jack Kirby Hulk figure I just showed you. Oh man, I love this figure so much. I know some people prefer the Marvel Legends over the Marvel Select stuff, but the Select stuff, they feel more like works of art to me than the Marvel Legends. Marvel Legends feels like a commercialized toy product, whereas these feel a little bit more premium. They give you, in some cases, just as much articulation, but the range of motion isn't as nice as the Marvel Legends. This guy, though, his articulation he doesn't have as much. It's very basic, but what he lacks in articulation, he makes up for in size. His head is, I don't know. His head, this is more of the classic kind of look of Abomination. And his arms just go out and they rotate, and he has that, and you can rotate him at the waist. His legs move. Here's it. Same with the ankles. I love this figure. I bought this used. One of the toy shops in my area had this. I don't think I paid a lot for it. I think I paid less for it than if I bought it new. But I couldn't pass up on it. The detail was amazing, and I need an Abomination. And I didn't have the Marvel Legends one. I never got that Build-A-Figure wave. But just look at the detailing on this. The sculpting is amazing, amazing, amazing. The paint application is beautiful. And, God, this is such a great figure. And this is heavy. This is one of those figures that if you display it, you just got to keep an eye on it because it's so heavy. It's like chances are of it falling over are pretty great. And you don't want it to wake up one morning and find it on the floor broken in half because it couldn't stand up on its own weight. But yeah, awesome figure. I can't say enough good things about this. Look at that detail. Abomination. So that pretty much wraps up my look at these two figures. Did I compare them yet with the other figures? I don't remember. So yeah, if you're collecting the Gamerverse stuff, which if you're not, I highly recommend you do because the line's been on the shelf for maybe like 9 months, and the figures are becoming a little bit more scarce, and not because they're hot, it's just because they've been around for a while. So if you're like me and you got into the game late, and all of a sudden you're enjoying the characters and the story, and you're like, I kind of want toys of that, go out and get them. There's Cap. We have Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. We have a couple different Iron Men. I believe there's 2 different versions of Thor. One has the helmet. This one's the one that without it. There's a Taskmaster figure too in the double pack. But these are great. I love these figures. I can't stress it enough. If you've been collecting Marvel Legends, and if you already have the Avengers assembled, like, 3 times over because there's so many variations of it, take a break from that and try to, just start assembling a new team of Avengers from different lines. There's a couple of budget lines out there that you might have to like backtrack and hunt down on eBay, but it's a fun hobby. I mean, I enjoy looking, especially when I find them at great prices. I love collecting a new team of Avengers at a different scale, and if the prices are really low, it makes it all that much more sweet. So yeah, this is me, Lou, signing out. Thank you again for checking out this video. I greatly appreciate it. So I will see you again soon. Drop by anytime. Take care.